Did you know that picturesque travel destinations can sometimes conceal a dangerous reality? A postcard-perfect view might mask the presence of high crime and violence that could transform a dream vacation into a harrowing experience. Today on Globe Trekking, we're venturing beyond the travel brochures to uncover the top 10 most dangerous tourist destinations in the world. This isn't just a list of cautionary tales, it's a critical rundown of the places where breathtaking scenery comes with the risk of robbery, assault, or even worse. So before you pack your bags and set out on your next adventure, be sure to hit subscribe because what we reveal today might just save your trip or even your life. Number 10, Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. The vibrant backdrop of Rio de Janeiro with its captivating samba rhythms and iconic Christ the Redeemer statue belies a darker side veiled from the average tourist brochure. In Rio's sprawling favelas, the reality of danger is as omnipresent as the scorching Brazilian sun. With high violence and crime rates that seep beyond the hillside shantytowns, fear threads through the colorful tapestry of this coastal city, making it far from just scaremongering, it's palpable danger. Tourists, dazzled by Copacabana's sun-kissed allure, often find themselves ensnared in meticulously crafted scams. These malicious schemes range from simple pickpocketing to elaborate tourist traps. Unfortunately, these occurrences aren't rare anomalies. They're a frequent risk amid Rio's bustling tourist hotspots. Visitors, eager to immerse themselves in the rich culture and beauty, instead become cautionary tales of exploitation and vulnerability. The expectation of protection within Rio's vacation paradises is dashed by the harsh reality of inadequate policing. The city, steeped in revelry and festivity, often obscures the grim truth. Authorities who should serve as guardians of public safety can't always be trusted. As reports of ineffectiveness and corruption within the ranks surface, tourists are left to navigate the treacherous waters of Rio's lawlessness with little to no safeguard. Number 9, Cape Town, South Africa. An undeniable jewel at the tip of the African continent, Cape Town enchants with its majestic Table Mountain and idyllic vineyards. But behind its picturesque charm lies a city notorious for muggings and robberies. This isn't an occurrence plucked from alarmist tales. These are the daily perils faced by both residents and unsuspecting tourists. The very real threat of violent theft lurks especially around tourist hotspots, turning dream vacations into cautionary tales. This city presents a stark portrait of disparity, where opulent neighborhoods and sprawling slums are separated by more than just a few streets. The palpable contrast between luxury and poverty doesn't just fuel socio-economic debates, it ignites a desperate brand of crime that targets anyone appearing to flaunt their wealth. Here, your much-anticipated African adventure could quickly devolve into a dire lesson on societal rifts and the lengths some will go to bridge them. As the sun sets and shadows engulf the city, Cape Town's streets betray their sinister side. Poor lighting and security become glaringly apparent, casting long stretches into treacherous paths. Dare to traverse these streets alone at night, and you risk becoming a prime target in a dark cat-and-mouse game. In Cape Town, the night doesn't so much invite adventure as it does caution, reminding us that sometimes the most striking of cities can also be the most predatory. Number 8, Caracas, Venezuela. In the labyrinth of Caracas's streets, the threat of abduction looms large, earning the city the notorious title of the kidnapping capital. Express kidnappings, where victims are snatched and ransomed quickly, are not mere urban legends here. They elevate the fear factor to harrowing new heights. Tourists, often seen as walking ATMs, are prime targets for this swift and brutal trade, turning every shadow into a potential assailant who could turn sightseeing into a survival ordeal. The city's political climate is as volatile as it is violent, with unrest lurking around every corner. Protests and riots have become part of the fabric of Caracas, turning its thoroughfares into unpredictable battlegrounds where tear gas and rubber bullets are as common as market haggling. As an outsider, your chances of getting inadvertently caught in the crosshairs of political clashes increase exponentially, transforming what should be an exotic escapade into a treacherous expedition. What exacerbates Caracas's perilous streets is the palpable desperation born out of an economic crisis that has left store shelves barren and stomachs growling. Shortages of food, medicine, and even electricity cast a shadow that looms over the city, pushing crime rates upward as Venezuelans grapple with despair. This isn't the kind of local color tourists seek, as a simple quest for basic supplies can spiral into a dangerous endeavor amidst a city starved for stability. Number 7. Acapulco, Mexico. Gone are the days when Acapulco's shimmering coastline was a picture-perfect sanctuary for jet-setters and Hollywood's elite. Today, the city harbors a more sinister reality. It has become a battleground of gang violence and turf wars. Despite the postcards that paint a serene seaside escape, the nostalgic allure is shattered by the crackle of gunfire, a stark reminder of the terror that has besieged this once paradisiacal destination. The same beaches and resorts that draw thousands of sunseekers annually have a darker side you won't find in the brochures. As the sun dips below the horizon, the risk of violence rises, and the glittering resorts stand as facades to a city grappling with a much deeper crisis. Tourists are urged to tread carefully, as the tropical tranquility can swiftly transform into a treacherous snare, with the sunset's beauty belying an undercurrent of peril. Further complicating matters is a corrupt law enforcement system crippled by infiltration from the very gangs it's supposed to suppress. Reports of police involvement in criminal activities have left both locals and tourists questioning who they can trust. With those meant to enforce the law entangled in the web of corruption, protection becomes a commodity, and Acapulco's struggle for peace is undermined by those sworn to uphold it. Number 6. San Pedro Sula, Honduras. Nestled in the lush landscapes of Honduras, San Pedro Sula is a city with a stark and unforgiving contrast to its natural beauty. Known for boasting one of the highest homicide rates globally, it's a place where death lurks around every corner, indiscriminate of whether you're a local resident or just a passing tourist. The statistics are grim, and for those who dare to traverse this city, the constant overhang of potential violence is palpable, with the threat of becoming just another number in a morbid tally. The city's notoriety stems beyond just the homicide figures. It's a hotbed for gang activity and drug trafficking. Here, the allure of experiencing authentic Honduran culture is overshadowed by the harsh reality of criminal enterprises that permeate the streets. Picture this. Instead of a tranquil cultural exchange, one wrong turn could land you in the middle of an all-too-common drug standoff. Unfortunately, the local culture tourists seek might be intertwined with a power struggle they'd rather avoid. And as this reputation solidifies, San Pedro Sula's image as a dangerous destination is undoubtedly growing. It's not media sensationalism or fear-mongering. It's the cold, hard truth spoken by those who have witnessed the city's perilous environment. For an adventurous traveler at times, the risk may seem part of the thrill, but in San Pedro Sula, the risks are real, the hype is justified, and the danger is not worth testing. Number 5. Karachi, Pakistan. In the heart of Pakistan, Karachi stands as a city of contradictions. With a bustling port and vibrant markets, it's a place of immense cultural wealth and historical significance. But beneath this facade, the city is gripped by political instability that is more than just alarmist media hype. The risk of terrorism looms large, turning ordinary market squares into potential hotbeds of chaos with just one misstep. As a traveler, navigating these streets means staying constantly aware, as the next turn could inadvertently draw you into the center of an unexpected conflict. The city's diverse tapestry of ethnic groups has sadly become one of its vulnerabilities. Karachi's history is marred by ethnic and political clashes that simmer beneath the surface, threatening to erupt without warning. For a tourist, being caught in the crossfire is a real hazard. The labyrinthine alleys, so alluring on a peaceful day, can quickly become scenes of confrontation and strife. It is a city where wrong place, wrong time feels like an ever-present risk, a grim shadow cast over its colorful bazaars and historic architecture. But perhaps what makes Karachi truly daunting for outsiders is the risk of mistaken identity. In an atmosphere where foreign diplomats and workers are often targets, carrying a backpack and a camera doesn't always read tourist. To the untrained eye, every foreigner could be significant, making every alleyway trek and every street crossing more than just an adventure. It's a risky game of perceptions. In Karachi, your wanderlust could unintentionally translate into vulnerability, a sobering reminder of the risks that come with journeying through a city clouded by turmoil and suspicion. Number 4, Nairobi, Kenya. In the heart of East Africa, Nairobi might conjure images of safaris and close encounters with the majestic wildlife. However, tourists are increasingly finding themselves faced with a different kind of predator, one that walks on two legs and is a master of urban ambushes. Visitors to Nairobi's bustling tourist areas are finding the concept of survival of the fittest taking on a chilling new meaning as the risk of theft and mugging sorely tests their vigilance. The city's vibrant streets and markets, a draw for the global traveler, now come tangled with an undercurrent of danger as concerns swell over terrorist attacks. The shadow of threat stretches far beyond the animal kingdom Nairobi is famed for. Here, the terror has a human face. Visitors come searching for life-changing experiences, only to find themselves inadvertently playing the role of prey in a hunter's game where the stakes are all too real. But perhaps the most unnerving trend emerging from Kenya's revered capital is the reports of criminals masquerading as police officers. In a disconcerting distortion of trust, those who appear as harbingers of law and safety are, in some cases, the very agents of threat. The line between law and lawlessness is not just blurred, but worryingly obscured, leaving tourists in a troubling quandary over whom to trust. Number 3, Bogota, Colombia. Bogota paints a tantalizing image of transformation, often touted as an up-and-coming star among South American capitals. With its eye-catching street art, booming culinary scene, and vibrant nightlife, the city's facelift in recent years suggests a shimmering beacon of progress. But scratch beneath the city's colorful surface, and you'll find that not all that glitters is gold. Despite its strides towards modernity, Bogota's past continues to cast long shadows, as tourists often find themselves targeted by petty thieves and adept muggers, rendering the city's renaissance incomplete in the eyes of the wary traveler. Yet, it's the notorious Paseo Millonario, or the Millionaire Ride, that remains Bogota's most infamous export in the annals of crime. It's a harrowing experience where unsuspecting passengers are held at gunpoint, forced to drain their bank accounts at ATMs across the city, leaving them financially and emotionally bruised. This grim lottery under the guise of a cab ride is a sinister nod to wealth disparity, a reality that luxury facades can't quite conceal. The city's historical scars, etched deep by decades of drug cartel battles, have not faded as urban planning and campaigns might suggest. The socio-economic chasms created in those tumultuous times are still palpable in many urban areas struggling to heal and outgrow the notorious legacy. For all the city's charm and cheer that guidebooks may promise, the ghost of unrest haunts both old and new Bogota alike. A stark reminder of a past that lingers stubbornly into present peril. Number 2, Detroit, USA. In the heart of America, Detroit stands as a stark contrast to the bright lights of opportunity promised in the land of the free. With sky-high crime rates that loom over certain neighborhoods, this city is painted with the grim shadow of the American dream turned sour. Once the roaring motor of the nation's car industry, it now idles in decay, with communities trapped in cycles of poverty and violence that pass through generations like a cruel inheritance. Amidst the hollowed husks of factories and the silent streets where prosperity once blossomed, Detroit's infrastructure crumbles. The urban landscape, scarred by internal strife, reveals a state of neglect that isn't just unappealing, it's downright dangerous. Buildings that once symbolized America's industrial might now stand as neglected tombstones, memorializing a bygone era. Here, urban decay isn't a quirky backdrop for edgy photos, it's a daily reality for residents living amongst the rubble of a city that has been left to fend for itself. Figures in blue, sworn to serve and protect, find themselves in an unenviable predicament. Detroit's police force, known for being overwhelmed and underfunded, battle not just against crime, but against dwindling resources that leave them stretched to breaking point. In the most desperate moments, when the vulnerable reach for the phone to dial 911, the hope for a timely response seems like a roll of the dice, a heart-wrenching gamble in a city where the odds are stacked against them. As faith in public institutions wanes, the very fabric of this once mighty city continues to fray, leaving residents whispering silent prayers for change. Number 1. Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. Just across the border from the neon lights of El Paso, Texas, lies Ciudad Juarez, a city where the specter of violence casts a long and ominous shadow. Known for its alarmingly high number of murders, the city has become emblematic of the grave risks faced by women in particular, with the term feminicidios, or female homicides, becoming a tragic identifier of the region. To step into this city is to confront the dangerous reality that goes beyond cautionary tales, entering a realm where the severity of danger is not overstated. It's lived and breathed. The malignant influence of drug-related crime courses through the arteries of Ciudad Juarez like a potent venom. Cartels wield power with a ruthless efficiency, perpetuating a cycle of violence that snares both locals and unwary travelers alike. Visitors seeking the authentic charm of Mexico may find themselves entangled in a much more harrowing side of local culture, where involvement with cartel activities could quickly turn a venture into a voyage of no return. This isn't an adventure to be taken lightly or written off as an exaggeration. It's a perilous path lined with risks far removed from the picture postcard allure Mexico often promises. Amidst this chaos, police corruption and indifference run rampant, breeding an atmosphere where lawlessness feels as regular as the law. In Ciudad Juarez, the trust in authority falls into the abyss of despair, with law enforcement agencies often mired in the very criminal activities they're meant to combat. Here, the line between protector and predator blurs, leaving residents and visitors alike navigating a treacherous urban landscape where protection is scarce and the concept of safety is a precious commodity. In Ciudad Juarez, it's not just the law that's been corrupted, it's hope itself. From the sun-drenched beaches of Rio de Janeiro to the bustling markets of Karachi, today's journey has unfolded stories and truths about some of the world's most dangerous destinations. Despite alluring visuals and the temptation of adventure, these cities showcase the harsh reality where the beauty of travel is overshadowed by a veil of risk and trepidation. In the case of Nairobi's infamous thefts or Bogota's daunting legacy of cartels, what's clear is that the romanticism of exploration can quickly pivot to danger, reminding us that sometimes the most exotic of locales demands the utmost caution. The all-American narrative takes a dark twist in Detroit, where neglect paints a grim portrait far from postcard-perfect views. And above all, Ciudad Juarez stands as a stark symbol of when cities fail their citizens, where violence, fear, and corruption define daily existence. If you found our globe-trekking tour through these precarious metros both eye-opening and thought-provoking, don't forget to subscribe to Globe Trekking for more insightful content. Remember, Travel is as much about understanding the world as it is about discovering it, and being informed is the key to being safe. Stay tuned for our next adventure, where we bring some much-needed levity back into the discourse of travel. We'll be exploring the top 10 safest cities for tourists, places where the promise of awe doesn't come with a cautionary tag. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, join us on our next expedition, and become a part of the globe trekking family.